Hello and welcome to your introductory editing course. Here you'll be provided with all of the tools necessary to even begin to understand the very technically driven skill set of film assembly and pacing. I'll be your instructor. As I'm sure you've probably heard before, without the edit, there is no movie. Now I'm sure you've also heard that about writers before, but no offense to all the writers out there. If I wanted something heavy on text, I would play Yu-Gi-Oh! Forbidden Memories for the PS1.
Who was that joke for?
To anybody wondering, that joke was just for me.
Fine.
Editing is used to give a movie structure, scenes, and sense. Truly, that is all editing really is. Just a tool used to highlight some of the more important aspects of filmmaking, meant to ensure a succinct narrative experience. Narrative, as we all know, is a convergence of all of the filmic technical skills and know-how that we learned from 4 years of filmmaking in order to properly associate images with
Over the years, I have shown footage from my old short films, sketch comedy videos, and more of my work, typically to exemplify what I believe to be inherent to newcomers to filmmaking. I've even touched on editing, however briefly, speaking about my own personal experiences with concepts like intercutting, continuity of action, and the less inherent art of creating spaces with what I'll call a harmonic visual continuity. And though I've always considered editing to be the most accessible, expressive format in the world of film, yes, you did hear that right, I have yet to speak on it as an art form of inherency. It's always been as a learnable skill, a technical one. Editing, according to me, in 2017 to 18 has always been inherent only insofar as how it can be used to structure conventions of narrative cinema, generally respecting time, space, and tangible reality. It inherently ignores film as a medium to express beyond the literal. Everything as I've described it thus far is in service of a function rather than a feeling. Yes, we find it odd and unbalanced when the eye lines don't match, but this still isn't really an expression, but rather a technical expectation of aesthetics. So, I guess editing isn't as accessible as I had hoped then, right? If it's only, technically learnable, if you can only understand this process through the tangible product, then the emotional aspect of editing is not inherent filmmaking. I mean, all I have to show for my earliest editing experiences are narrative works, and nothing else. So I guess we're done. Thank you for watching.
I walk a lonely road,
Yeah, we're still not allowed to play that much copyrighted music. Okay. So, I made music videos around the same time I was starting with my sketch comedy films. It was little scattered visual ideas set to music I was listening to at the time. Why have I never shown these materials? Well, I can stomach showing you like my little mouse face and my fedora, flubbing lines and, mumbling through every other word and scene. That's fine. Most of that isn't my fault. I kind of feel like I have to draw the line at videos of me lip-syncing to a Papa Roach song about murder in front of like a row of kitchen knives that I've taped to the back of my basement wall. Notice I'm describing it to you and I still kind of refuse to show it. But, okay, this is essential for me to discuss because it highlights what I consider to be the inherent component of editing and proof that unconsciously we are capable of and possibly even prefer to edit how we feel over how we are expected to. The component I'm talking about is referred to often by editors as the invisible rhythm. It refers exclusively to a feeling. When editing a scene in a film, I've been known to harp on single cuts in particular because there were a handful of frames too short or too long in a moment, or an emotion was emphasized for too long or understated for longer. This isn't really an issue of pacing, which is a really nebulous concept in and of itself. No, the rhythm I'm talking about isn't exclusively structural, or in other words, doesn't rely on the scene-to-scene edits to feel cohesive. Instead, the invisible rhythm focuses on the feeling of the edit rather than where that edit is rooted in time. An edit can be jarring, it can be emotionally non-contiguous or violently disturbing when placed alongside other images. This is all in service of the rhythm. Even when it disrupts the rhythm, this vague feeling we have about the supposed inherent rules of pacing, that disruption in and of itself validates its necessity. Which brings me to music videos. Music videos are the perfect love letter to the invisible rhythm of editing, and a fantastic starting point for literally any beginner editor. The clearest reason, obviously, being because music has rhythm. It creates an audible framework where the edit can feel like it has a definitive structure, while in the spirit of the modern music video, giving artists room to work outside the bounds of the tangible if they see fit. It can employ less of a necessity for a concrete visual identity and instead focus on the malleable identity of the montage, the only true consistency emitting from the very audible, very visible rhythm of a song. I know lots of directors that work in music videos now, and I know people whose first ever video projects were shoddy lip syncs of Rise Against and REM and Disturbed. They've asked not to be named though, and I want to be respectful of their wishes, so. Damn, YouTube is such a vulture for not letting me show you all of that. And down the line, if, say, creating a visual component to a song loses its favor, music provides the editor a place to exercise with the rhythm in more appropriate ways. I still do editing exercises to this day, which I know are referred to like on TikTok or otherwise as, edits and fan cams. Remember on YouTube they used to be called MVs? I'm showing my age a little bit by saying that, but I would use footage from things that I know to thematically harmonize with a song. I've made fan trailers, tributes to things I love, and all of it has been a great refresher for an editor that would otherwise fall into conventions expected of industry professionals. Music encourages a relapse in feelings that extend beyond itself and into other art forms. As editors, make sure you're doing the occasional exercise outside your main line of work. Sometimes it pays to remind yourself how to feel, how to listen.